All right, good evening and welcome to the December 5th, 2011 edition of the Amelia Village Council meeting. We'll call tonight's meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. and ask the fiscal officer for a roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Paula.
Here.
Ms. Gerber.
Here.
Mr. Hart.
Here.
Mr. Rosser is absent. And Mr. Thacker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
This time we'll ask everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, welcome. I'd like to thank all of those who have taken the time to join us here tonight in council chambers, and also those who may be viewing this meeting on Cameron County Communications channel number 22. We'd encourage people to watch the meetings on channel 22 or by way of the Amelia Village website at www.ameliavillage.com, and we always look forward to your input. Minutes from last meeting? Minutes?
They're mailed out to everyone. They're emailed to everyone.
Okay. I don't have them. That's right. That's right.
Don't work on them.
They were emailed out to everyone?
When did we email them out today?
No, Friday.
Friday?
They were in the packet?
Not in the hard copy.
My bad. Okay.
We'll have to put these in on So, did you email them out or did you email them?
I emailed them out to council members.
You
on
emailed
Friday.
them independently?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not prepared to approve?
Yeah, I didn't see them in the police packet or anything.
They were
Yeah,
not.
they were not in there. They came in a message from Kevin. Okay, so we'll pass them out. All right, so move on down to the agenda. And the first item on the agenda this evening is the swearing in of David Friend as the Amelia Police Chief. Very honored and privileged to, at this time, introduce the new police chief who will be taking office on December 12th. Is it the 12th? 2011. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief David Friend for his swearing in.
Yeah, Kevin, you want to maybe
Clean up your desk there.
want to move your papers? Or... This has got to be memorable. We'll use this.
I, David J. Friend,
I, David J. Friend,
do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution
do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the ordinances and resolutions
and the ordinances and resolutions
of Amelia Village,
of Amelia Village,
and faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
the duties and all and singly of the offices of the Chief of Police
and duties and all and singly of the office of the Chief of Police
and Village Marshal
and Village
of
Marshal
Amelia Village,
of Amelia Village,
Claremont County, Ohio,
Claremont County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
without malice or prejudice,
without malice or prejudice,
but with courtesy and respect for all.
but with courtesy and respect for all.
So help me God.
So help me God.
What?
Some of those were kind of long, weren't they?
That's it.
That's it.
I have a copy for you.
Chief, would you like to address the residents? Or
I would just like to say, and especially thank the people up north that came down to see me and fought the traffic and the weather and all that. My in-laws and my daughter and her daughters, my grandchildren, especially my wife Sheila, a fellow sergeant from the Tipsy Police Department, Sergeant J.J. Morrow, and his wife Brenda, and some of the guys from the Amelia Police Department, and the people who came here at meet and greet. I would really appreciate everything.
Welcome, Chief. Thank you.
Welcome, Chief.
Go all the way around.
Before we move to the next item on the agenda, I'd like to extend a thank you to Chief Wallace for the job he's done in performing the role of interim police chief. Thank you, Chief Wallace. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda this evening, we have a guest of council, Mr. Brent Gaspard from Rumpke. I'd like to take a minute prior to Mr. Gaspard addressing council and provide a little update on our trash collection situation. Our trash collection contract with Rumpke is expiring, is it at the end of December, Brent? At the end of December. We knew that the contract renewal was coming up, but there were some legal matters that I needed to have Julia review prior to being able to proceed with either signing a new contract or issuing an RFP. Now, as I understand it, you've done your legal research and prepared a request for proposal.
Correct.
And I guess what I just wanted to express to council that I believe that, I don't know that legislatively, do we have to submit an RFP?
You don't have to submit the RFP.
We don't have to submit an RFP.
Right.
That being said, I'm personally a fan of submitting the RFP for purposes of just entertaining all potential vendors and bids. So with that, I would, Brent Gaspard is with Rumpke, and I can tell you that when I say that I'm in favor of entertaining bids, has absolutely nothing to do with the service that's been provided by Rumpke. I think it's superior, it's great. I just think it's a matter of due diligence for us as a committee to proceed in that manner. That, however, is council's decision. So for what it's worth, at this time I would just introduce Brett, if you'd like to address council and just talk about the contract with Rumpke.
Do you need me to stand, Mayor?
Make yourself comfortable.
Okay. Brett Gaspard with Rumpke. I'm the municipal and public sector representative. I've worked with the Village of Amelia for several years under a couple of different mayors and administrative officers. Worked regularly with Julie, who's looked like she slipped out for a minute, and we work very closely together. 3 years ago, about every 3 years, the Village of Amelia does bid out. The last time it was bid out, we were the only people who submitted a bid. There were no other competitors. And around that time, also, the Village of Amelia, you might recall, previously had a waste levy, which was basically like a property tax, which paid for the waste collection. And so the residents didn't really have any involvement in having to pay the vendor directly. The last RFP required that the vendor do the billing and that the collection be universal or mandatory as it was under the tax code, so you wouldn't have any health and welfare issues. Now, as we began to bill, challenges that we face, and Amelia is the only city on the Cincinnati side of the river, and probably only 3 in the tri-state that we do individually bill for, is keeping track of the residents, getting updates from the auditor's office, and of course you know, if you don't have the mandatory collection, people set out with their neighbor, they dump at businesses call us and say, hey, we got people dumping, you know, so it causes a disaster. The greatest thing would be if Amelia could somehow get that back on a property tax of some sort, or handle the billing internally so folks would pay. And that keeps your garbage bill down. It's quite a bit of difference between if we have to send one bill to the village and we know they're going to pay versus, you know, 1,200 or plus bills out to the residents, and it's hard to keep up with the payments and so forth. So that's an issue that we have. As Leroy said, the current contract from the last RFP terminates at the end of December officially. And if there's no new contract in place, then what happens is the village would default to an open rate, which you'd be paying the county rate, which is over $20 right now, plus there's a fuel surcharge. So a lot of folks in the county are paying like $23, $24 a month versus the roughly $12 that the folks in the village are paying. The Village of Amelia does have a unique setup. This is not necessarily something that Rumpke set up. It's what the village wanted to do to save money. I don't know if the new RFP will reflect this or not, but right now everybody in the community does have a waste cart. Amelia was a pilot community for that. I think you might be the only community at the time. Maybe I think there's maybe 3 communities now that have the carts in Claremont County as a universal thing. And so that was set up by the village several years back, that everybody puts everything in the cart, and anything beyond the cart you have to go to CVS and get a sticker for. That would be something that council may want to consider if you want to do away with the stickers and put maybe a 2-cart limit or a 6-can limit, or other than the 1-cart limit. You can do that. That, you know, may have a slight effect on the rate. I believe the reason that was put in, we have a few communities that do it that way, was so the senior citizens who don't generate as much trash wouldn't have to kind of pay for the folks that do generate more. But obviously Rumpke is happy to respond to whatever service you would like. I would definitely, in the RFP, make sure that if you want to continue with the cart service, that you know, the bid specifies that everybody be provided with a cart if you want to continue that service. Other than that, we do want to give you time. It is late in December. By the time you advertise the RFP, review the bidders, it's going to be pretty rough. And also from when the waste levy expired and we actually took over the billing, that didn't line up too well, which we knew that going in, with our billing. So actually, to make the quarterly billing to the residents proper, we need to extend the contract by 2 months, really no matter what. And that will make the current bill cycle to the residents work out just perfectly, so they won't have to deal with a partial bill or change their automatics. A lot of people pay on automatic renewal or so forth. And that would give you more time to bid too. So what we would like council to do simply is to you know, extend the contract officially for 2 more months through the end of February. And then and in between that time, go ahead if you'd like to issue an RFP. If you need more time to study the issue of you want recycling back, that was a cost savings thing that the village got rid of. The county was just working on a pilot recycling program with Bethel, which saved them a lot of money on their recycling program. If you want more time to research the issue, do a survey to the residents, find out, you know, whether you want the carts or you don't, whether you want carts plus the stickers, we can extend the contract for 11 months. Again, the 11 months would be to line up the billing cycle, and that would be at the same rate. So we leave that up to you. You know, we don't know if anybody will bid or not, but we're happy to extend the contract, which we need to for 2 months, but we're happy to extend it for up to 11 months at the same rate, which is allowable under our current contract, or again, just the 2 months. And also, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
A couple things I would add, or the first question I have for you, Brett, is have receivables from your standpoint, and I know there was some transition time and everything, but is, to your knowledge, is it being a successful?
We have there's a lot of vacant properties in, or foreclosures in Amelia. And then you do have a number of refusals. Overall, based on the count that we have from the auditor's office on how many units should be in Amelia and how many we're actually billing, we're somewhere between about 90 and 92%. So about 8% of the people, either those units are vacant or they're just not paying, and I don't know what they're doing with their trash. And we can provide that list of folks who aren't every month. The problem, of course, is for the village having the staff to be able to enforce that. So.
What I would, just to clarify something, I indicated that there was some legal research that needed to be done. There was some question, and had been for some period of time, whether or not the village had the authority to contract for the services on behalf of the residents that were not being paid for by tax dollars. Julia did the research on that, and you want to talk about what you found in your research?
Sure. I did a little bit of research on that because that had been raised as an issue. The Ohio Revised Code, it's section 3707.43, clearly provides for the village's ability to contract for waste removal. And it also, the expense can be paid by the municipal corporation or at the expense of the persons responsible for the existence of the waste, which would be the individual homeowner. So legally, we can go ahead and charge the individual homeowners for the collection.
Now, when this first happened, I'm just going to give a little background for those that may or may not know, just for your general public. When we first went to the resident billing, Julie knows better than anybody that we received pretty much an onslaught of phone calls and complaints from residents who basically said, hey, I didn't contract with Rumpke. Why do I have to pay the bill? Why does the village have the authority to contract for trash collection on my behalf? That's the reason I asked Julia to look into that. By that point, we were invested in the contract. And when, early on in this process, I had a number of conversations with residents who just flatly refused and said, we're not going to pay. We're just not going to pay this. We didn't sign a contract with Rumpke. We don't have to pay it. And so, not being sure exactly how to handle that, I basically told people, well, let's just keep track of those people that said they're not going to pay, because I understood why they thought that way. The other part of it is that so many people that called and complained and said that they were going to choose the vendor of their choice. They researched it and found, wow, this is a way better deal than I can get all by myself. This is a great deal. I think I'll just stick with it, with Rumpke, yes. And so there was about maybe a year transition, would you say, Julie, or less?
At least a year.
Was it a year? Where it was pretty active topic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's quietened down quite a bit since then, would you say? Residents seem to have settled into the fact that it's a savings. So as we enter into the opportunity for a new contract, I just wanted to make sure that council understood the history involved, and also let Brett know that my recommendation to seek an RFP is absolutely no reflection on the service provided by Rumpke. Always good service, and we've been very happy with working with Brett, but I just felt it was a matter of due diligence. So with that, I had some preliminary discussions with the incoming mayor, Todd Hart, regarding this subject, and he indicated that, he had some questions about how many cans, etc. So that all being said, now is a perfect opportunity, and this provides this council and the incoming council an opportunity to either take advantage of, we have a minimum of 2 months that we need to extend the contract, and possibly further. So at this point, I just wanted to get everybody up to speed, in case you didn't know, and for those people here, the background on the Rumpke scenario. And Brett, if there's anything you want to add, or Julie, you feel like there's anything that needs to be added on this, just chime in. That's the background. At this time, I'll just open the floor to council for your discussion and your direction on how to proceed.
I think it is important to put out for an RFP. I too am happy with Rumpke, but you know, it is due diligence to go ahead and put that out there to keep everybody honest and go from there.
Are we in the process of doing that by any chance?
The RFP,
The RFP is pretty much prepared.
pretty much complete. It can be edited. If council tonight wanted to say they wanted to change some of the content of the RFP, which Julia can tell you the content of it. Does it lay out the number of cans?
It
or
does,
anything?
but unfortunately I don't remember it off
Okay.
the top of my head.
It's whatever the existing contract is.
That I'll have to check, but I can make it whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, that's-
Basically, it hasn't gone out anywhere. It's just been on my computer. So if you want it to match what you have now, it can. If you want it to be a certain size tote, I can do that. You just need to let me know. The start date, if you want to think about recycling, I've seen bids go in that you kind of do an alternate bid with the recycling included. So
What would, if we added you said you did a trial thing in Bethel with the recycling, what would we do that on a resident basis, or is it charged to everyone? Let's say I decide, Derek and I live on the same street, I want to recycle, he doesn't. Would that be charged to everyone, or can the resident? I know there are a lot of them, or there are some that do want to recycle, but I wouldn't want to pass that cost along to everybody.
Yeah, in order to make recycling available to make it work, it would have to be distributed evenly to everybody. What we did in Bethel as a pilot program with the county was tried something which was recycling with a cart, much like the trash cart, and only provided it once a month. The recycling pickup once a month, but instead of having that little red bin that used to be here in Amelia picked up weekly, they had a big green cart that was picked up monthly, and that's been very popular because the cost is so low. And we were able to do that in Bethel for under $1 a month to provide that service.
Per household?
Per household is what the result was. But it would be part of the overall trash bill. What happens when recycling obviously has a cost of its own, but it also, in effect, somewhat lowers the trash rate because you're diverting some material. So there is a net increase, but there is also an effect on the trash rate, which helps it to go down.
We currently have a recycling location right here at CVS. It's what's the measurement on that dumpster?
It should be an 8 cubic yard dumpster.
How frequently do they pick up?
Twice a week.
Okay, they pick up twice a week?
What's the content? I mean, is it loaded or?
Yes, it's loaded full twice a week.
Yeah, I know that many times when I'm walking to my car from down the sidewalk here, Sonia will be filling up over there and they yell over at me, hey, we need another dumpster over here. So people are using it. I'm surprised it's twice a week. I really am. I'm surprised at that.
And those would include, the recycling thing includes all your recyclables, paper, plastic, bottles?
Brad, if I remember right, I think it was close to right around $40,000 a year, wasn't it, for recycling previously?
That'd be you might.
Yeah, it was in that range.
I would say it's usually right in the for universal recycling with the red bin once a week is normally just right around $3 a month for that service. So $3 times 1,400 units is probably pretty close to what you're saying. Yeah.
If I recall correctly, too, there was about 30% of the population that were utilizing the recycling, which is why we went to the recycling location.
I like that little green box though. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, pick up, like you said, instead of every whip stitch, which is not only hard on you, it's hard on us besides running out there with your little box when you got a big box. Do you come out every 2 weeks, you say, you pick it up?
Once a month.
Or once a month?
Yeah,
that'll work.
The trial program was once a month, and it's successful with that. And what we've done, or what we're going to do, there were only just a a couple of people that indicated that the cart picked up once a month wasn't enough, and it was usually because they missed the date. But we send out a mailer to everybody so that they know what the dates are. And they should be able to remember. It's, the first Monday of the month, first Tuesday of the month, whatever that is, but we go ahead and send the dates. And there's only a few that wasn't enough for, but what we are going to do moving forward is offer them, they can call us directly and rent an extra cart. So if they definitely need more services, not like it wouldn't be available, we're just not going to charge everybody for them. We're just going to charge that individual that needs the additional service. And it's very inexpensive.
So then what would that add to our cost as it is today? I mean, are we talking about a lot of money or just a little side
Well,
spend?
depends on the length of the contract that you go with and whether or not we can get the county to participate in any way. In Bethel, it was a trial. We were studying something that we would like to extend to the whole county, so we had some help paying for the capital cost of the carts. What we wouldn't want to do is put the carts out only for 1 year, because then we've bought all those
Yeah,
carts.
you got the carts, right.
So, ideally 3 years for that. But if we can get the county involved and they would be interested, we could, you could try it for 1 year, see how it works, and then decide from there. But if we can't get any sort of support on that, then you'd have to initially cover the cost of those carts, and then obviously as time goes on, the rate actually would go down, or we could start it a little higher and keep it even, type thing.
I think, of course, it's at council's discretion. I think my recommendation would be to extend for the 2 months, which we need to do anyway. Ask Julia to, if you can send out an email with the RFP. Everybody can spend some time looking at that, and at the next meeting, be prepared to discuss your thoughts on how to proceed with the RFP.
We actually need those comments immediately. We've already advertised that the RFP will be available Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can we cancel that?
I can check into that if you want to
Is
hold
it
off.
Inquirer?
It is the Inquirer.
You could probably, if you don't mind, probably just send it once the vendors pick up the bid specs, just send an addendum out changing the due date, if that would make it easier.
Well, see, the specs will already be out there if they want to make any changes to them, is my concern. I'll check into that first thing in the morning. And
Well, that was just my thought. I would just,
My
it's at council's discretion.
my gut feeling on this is, when you said we send this out to 11 months, that locks in the rate. So we basically still be paying 2008 rates.
Right, current rates.
Yeah, which we set in probably 2008, I'm guessing,
Right.
they haven't increased. So, I mean, I don't see why in the heck we wouldn't want to extend this all the way out to the 11 months. Keep everything locked in. I can't imagine a new contract now is going to be cheaper.
We wouldn't extend it further than that only because we just don't know what the economy is going to do.
Yeah.
But during that time, I'd be happy, whether you do it 11 months or 2 months, I'd be happy to come and meet with any council members in a committee fashion, or whatever, to talk about the recycling or carts or.
And that would also give us a lot more time to do that, not only.
Yeah, but could we wrap it up in 2 months? Just keep it from hanging fire for 11 months? That's,
Well, what Chuck is saying, that likely in 2 months there'll be a rate increase, but if you go ahead and extend it for 11 months, the rate will stay the same for those 11 months. That's kind of what Chuck is saying.
Yeah, I figure it's going to go up. Everything goes up when you renew.
Well, everything
It's just
goes
a
up.
life. So why not take the extra 9 months for free? No offense intended. And kind of put off the rate increase a little bit, because it's, I can't imagine they're going to double up on us or something, although they might not have the cat out of the bag. But and that would give us plenty of time to come up with their specs and get them advertised. We wouldn't have to rush.
what do you think about that, Brett?
Well, I'm happy with whatever you decide.
Do you look for a big rate increase, or do you look for it to stay about the same if we keep service as is?
Traditionally, the price always goes up.
Mhm.
But typically it goes up by 3 to 4% a year. So, I mean, it's not gonna be a huge increase. But, I mean, that would just be, the reason we're actually willing to go 11 months right now is, one, for the billing cycle, and two, because the fuel prices at this very moment are actually down from where they were a year ago and 2 years ago.
I kind of like the idea of locking it in too. We know it's going to be set
For the
by that
11 months.
increase for 11 months. Gives us plenty of time to work.
Go ahead,
Well,
John.
then you'll have the benefit of a new council being able to research what your wants and needs are in terms of how many cans and recycling and whatever.
Mhm.
Well, if we're done, I'll make that motion. We'll go ahead and send it out for the 11 months.
I'll second it. I like that idea about the green little boxes.
Yeah, well, Deb, we got a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, we can work those.
If the fellow was ambitious, could he throw his house in the dumpster over a period of time and take it away?
It's possible, yes.
I just wonder.
They'll bring you a big dumpster for that.
No, you know, concrete block at a time, you break it up, throw it in the dumpster over a period of time. You got a vacant lot.
We would much prefer that way than when people move out and leave it all set.
I bet, yeah. Oh,
So we have a first and a second. Discussion. The only discussion I have is would we move forward with the RFP, just change the date on it? Or would we
No, I
cancel?
think I'd hold off on the
Just cancel
RFP,
the
and
RFP.
I'll figure out how to do that.
All right.
I think since no one's gotten bid packets at this point, it's not
It's
really.
kind of not going to be a problem.
I don't anticipate. I wouldn't say definitely, but I don't anticipate since it hasn't gone out to anyone yet.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Paula,
Yay.
Ms. Gerber,
Okay.
Mr. Hart,
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
5-0. Mr. Rosser absent. Passes.
Thank you. Anybody have any other questions for Brett before he takes off?
Thank you,
You have
Mayor.
anything else for?
Well, everybody should have my card and my email phone number. Please feel free to give me a call. And I would like to meet with whatever committee that might be formed to help you
What-
work through these issues.
What's the date, the 11th month? What's the date on the other end?
That'd be November 30th,
November?
12th, November
12th.
30th, 2012.
Yeah, we'll have to do a contract amendment. And I'll get with you.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see sometime well before then, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Brett.
welcome. Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the Public Works Report from Rick Rowland regarding the cost of repair or replacement of a Chevy truck. This time I'm going to ask Rick if he would step forward and address council.
Good evening. As of last meeting, we were to look into replacement or repair of Chevrolet truck. We have done several things in your packet, looked into pricing of the trucks and that type of thing. The problem we're going to run into at this point in time is it's so late. In order to have a truck on a road where snow flies, it will not happen by buying a new one because they need several months to prepare the truck. You buy a truck, they state minimum bidding, then you contract another company to put it together. So you're looking 6 to 8 weeks at very low minimum, and that's after you set a contract to purchase a truck. So my suggestion, and I'm really not really at ease with it, but it's the only thing we can do at this point in time, is to look into repairing the Chevy. I have those documents and the prices on the page. I'm going to have some of the work done by Brian Kimberlin, who does the repairs for the police department and for us. However, he has stated that some of the repairs he will not touch because of the condition of the truck. It's beyond what he wants to deal with, and but that's where we're at with that. He will put the steering together, which is a major problem, and work on the lights. I spoke to Mr. Campbell about the welding stuff. That would have to be done by somebody, you or someone else. Those prices that's on that sheet only reflect the cost that I got from Mr. Kimberlin. Also, the rear fuel tank is a price I got from Holland. If need be, we can hold that repair back, it will cause a little inconvenience because you have to run a truck into the gas station many times instead of once a night, because you're only using about a 15 or 20, about 20 gallon tank instead of your 40 gallons that you would normally use. There is a switch that we shut off at present when we use it this year, because this fuel tank was something I reported to about last year and following. We've been running on that one tank, because you can't use it for a tank. The same problem, the gauges aren't working right, so constantly on any. But we need to look at getting the truck on the road as soon as possible. We need to look at being safe. My suggestions of what to be repaired is we'll make it safe for use, won't make it dependable, because there's all these other issues that aren't going to be addressed. There's rusted lines that are there, and we're going to hope and pray they don't break during the winter months. With what I have down, and there's be more estimate cost, we're going to run about $3,500 just to get that on the road. Then we're going to go day by day and make sure it stays on the road with any luck. Still, I wouldn't say it would be a truck that I would want to use much more. We need to start looking into, as I talked about, municipal leasing. There's a few articles on that. If we repair the truck now, we need to start the process of getting it ready regardless of what we're going to do. The problem is if we don't get a truck now or get this repaired now, we're going to be one truck, and that's not adequate for the town. The other truck is in the shop. I just got the final price. It'll be done probably in the week. That's with $3,000 to get that truck roadworthy and ready for winter. And it will be ready, and it will be all we need from that. However, the problem is with the second truck. We've looked, Kevin's looked everywhere for used ones. There's none to be found that's in a decent price range or with low mileage. The only real option we got is to purchase one. Besides, and even this one got a little bit longer. The best I can do is just repair the one we got for now. There's just no other way to get a truck on the road. I don't know if you can rent one from some company. But what we need with the hydraulics and the systems that we need to do the salt, they're just not available. I spoke to Holman's. They have a truck on a lot. However, it's capable for doing landscaping. It doesn't have the hydraulics or the capacities that we would need on a city truck. They're landscaping type trucks. So the only way, and I talked to down at the county, to Todd Sloan, he handles their fleet down there, and his suggestion is the same as what I had mentioned, that we look into state minimum bidding for the truck chassis and running gears, and then contact either the company they use or Coffenberger or Barger up in Sharp County. Yeah, sure. I had quotes and I wrote those down that they gave. And the cheapest truck that so far that I've caught, to give you some idea what the cost is going to be, is $52,000 a head. And that's the cheapest we can find. The estimate I have from Ford Motor Company was $55, but that's before you put salt spreaders and things like that on. The 57 was salt ready, plowing and lights and the spreader. So if you have any other questions on these documents,
You need a 2,861.74 to get that truck going.
That's without the price of some of the labor. Because what Kevin gave me was only 200 some. I mean, not Kevin, Brian gave me was only 200 some dollars. That's without doing the labor for the steering and all that. It could go up to $500 or $600 more. So I would say a comfortable area that would be about $3,500. And that will be if we can get the welding done for free, the patching done for free, or at a low cost. And that will not address the problems of the other lines and all that. That could go at any time. As Mr. Cumberland said, that he's not going to touch it because once you start doing it, it could be a major repair because those lines are completely corroded.
It sounds to me like we don't have any other choice at this point.
You're right there. That's what I think.
I'd like to make a motion for the $3,500 and fix the old truck for you to start looking at this bid package. That's what I'd like.
I'll second it.
Any
I know how the old red Chevrolet used to be.
questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Pollock,
Yay.
Mrs. Gerber,
Yay.
Mr. Hart,
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
5-0. Mr. Rosser absent. Passes.
Keep looking for your, work on that state bid.
That's all. They said they just opened them up, but they won't, I mean, they just came out, they won't be open up for about 3 more weeks, which I expect them to, that's in the packet. So as soon as the state bids are released, then we can start working on this total package. Okay?
Rick, could you send us a copy of the absolute requirements that you need in a truck?
Yeah, I'll
If
make
you could
sure I
put
get
that
those.
together
I'll go down,
for
talk to
us.
Mr. Sloan, make sure I get everything just exactly right.
Yeah, he buys them by the bulk.
Right.
So.
Is that truck at Weiler also like a landscaping truck?
Yes.
That explains why it's only 30.
That's why I said. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Next item on the agenda this evening is public input. This time we open the floor to any resident here who'd like to address council. If you'd like to address council, just stand and introduce yourself and say your business.
William Hammersley from over at Brace Court. We're kind of saddened at the fact that the skate park has been closed. Yeah, as far as me being ever going to use it, no. But I walk my dog every day over into Woodside, and there's most always, or at least back in the summertime, when the weather's good, there's most always someone over there using it. I worry that if it closes, it's gonna give the kids that we have, our young kids, less to do, and it's going to result in more kids getting into mischief and damaging other things belonging to other people. So isn't there some way that that can be reopened? I heard something on Channel 9 the other night. The guy said that you were going to check in with the manufacturer. I don't understand what they were doing that was.
I can explain.
Okay.
Here's what the real bottom line is. For a couple of years, we've had some kids, or I don't know that they're kids, but I assume that they are,
Yeah.
disassembling elements of this skate rink.
Okay.
And we keep repairing it. And to the point that I don't know how many police reports have been filed on I don't know who Rick is. But they come and they actually have to bring tools to disassemble it. Okay. Now, closing the skate park is I don't think a permanent measure. It's a temporary measure to determine a couple of factors. It was designed the way it was designed for all the elements of the skate ramp were put there for some reason. There's one particular piece that they keep taking off. Okay, I'm not a skater or a BMX rider, so I don't know what it is. And so, from what we understand, the skaters are saying they're glad that piece of equipment is off of there. However, I don't know how that piece being gone impacts the structural integrity of the equipment. If there were to be an injury on that piece of equipment, if the manufacturer would say, well, the equipment is not as we prescribed that it be set up. So basically, what I asked is that we close the park pending a report from the manufacturer telling us if that piece of equipment is in fact safe for kids to use without that piece of equipment. And we're just waiting for that information. Because they've continuously taken this one particular piece off, and for all I know, the piece of equipment is perfectly, I mean, if the manufacturer tells us it doesn't matter if that piece is there or not, and we'll talk to the Recreation Commission and see what they want to do, if they want to take that piece off of there or not. But right now, it's really just in a matter of the safety of the kids who are using it.
Might teach them a lesson too, don't?
Well, at this point, it's nothing punitive about it. It's just about avoiding liability and the concerns that, you know, if the piece of equipment is not being used as per the specifications, there's concern for that leaving us vulnerable to lawsuits. That's really what it is.
Another thing is I'm sure the village went to considerable expense to buy the equipment. Another question was, just going to let it sit there and rust? Or?
It's in my mind, a temporary measure.
Okay.
Once we have some feedback from the manufacturer, and Rick, who was just standing here, has been communicating with the manufacturer rep. They're emailing pictures back and forth. And once we have something definitive, we'll take that to the Recreation Commission, explain their findings, get a recommendation from the Recreation Commission, and bring that recommendation before council and decide how to proceed. I made the call to close the park on the day that I made the call because it was just one more time in a string of 2 years of vandalistic efforts on behalf of these people. And I can't tell you how many times Rick has come in here. In fact, I think back in October, he said, we received more vandalism at the skate park. I don't know what we're going to do about it. But it's just one of those things. It's a premeditated thing. They have to bring their tools to do it. So it's December. I'm not sure how frequently people skate, but I thought it was an ideal time to close the park and do the research and find out. So my anticipation would be that it would be open as soon as we have the documentation that says what we needed to accomplish. Or maybe the developer or the designer of the product will say, well, you can have that box there and still satisfy the skaters by moving it here or doing this or doing whatever. We're just waiting to get some feedback.
Another question I had, whose responsibility is it to keep the storm drains clear so that they don't get stopped up? Is it the residents or the...
on the storm drains in front of the house?
On the side of the street. The big grates on the side of the street.
Yeah, wastewater is right now kind of a shared responsibility of the county and the village. But Todd has a great deal of knowledge in that area. What is your...
I'm guessing probably village responsibility.
I noticed
it falls within the village and not out on 125. That would be our responsibility.
Last week or week before, I'm not sure when it was. Two of the grates in front of our property there were just were clogged completely, and there was just pooling of water in the streets. I took a rake out there and moved the stuff off one of the grates and.
That was just probably a conglomerate of leaves and everything else from all the heavy rain and whatnot. I'm sure Rick, do we clean those, Rick?
We've been out in the last month 3 times, but as you say, the leaves are pushing right back, and that's a lot due to the leaf problem we had at the pickup. I had Dave out there just last Tuesday cleaning drains. I don't know if he got every street in town Tuesday, but he was working on this side of the street, Huntsman, Trace, in that area last Tuesday.
I know you had the problem with the truck because I saw them out there one day. I talked to you too.
Right,
and that's when you told me what had happened to the truck. I didn't know what had happened.
So when you see a problem like that, if it's something that it's not too big of an inconvenience for you to do, that's great that you did that. But if it's a concern to you, just call the administrative offices here. Just let us know where you live and the address and where we've got a backup. We'd rather know about it than find out about it after it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we routinely check those, but we'll be doing that again with all the rain that we got, because I know what's working down there now is also stopping drains. And we'll be back out later this week as soon as we get finished with some other problems.
See, the problem was a lot of people rake their leaves out on the curb, thinking they were going to get vacuumed up, and then they found out about the breakdown, and well, leaves were already there, and the brakes were getting stopped up.
Put it in the little dumpster.
Yeah. Anything else, sir?
That's all I have.
Any other public input this evening?
I just wanted to say thank you to the police department. I was sitting on my porch the other day with my niece, and there was a bunch of teens fighting, and by the library it was getting pretty violent. And I called them, and I swear not even a minute later they came. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that showed up and took care of that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming forward and letting us know, too. Appreciate that. Other public input this evening? With no other public input, I would ask for a motion from council to move to an executive session to discuss pending litigation pursuant to revised code 121-22, subsection G, and ask the solicitor to join us.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Hart?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
5-0.
We'll be back as soon as we can. You're welcome to stay and ask more questions if you'd like. All right. We're back and ready to get back to business here at 8:03 p.m. We'll return from executive session. Ask for a roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Pollitt?
Here.
Ms. Gerber?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Rosser, still absent, and Mr. Thacker. Here.
All right, thank you very much. Before we move down to the legislation, there's the Mayor's Court account report on council's desk this evening for your review. Next item on the agenda this evening is ordinance number O-2011-50. This will serve as the second reading on this ordinance. An ordinance revising the Amelia Village Personnel Policy Manual to establish a methodology to determine seniority for village employees. Once again, that will serve as the second reading on ordinance number O-2011-50. Next ordinance for consideration this evening. Also a second reading, ordinance number O-2011-51, an ordinance establishing dates of hire and seniority for Amelia Village employees. Next ordinance for consideration this evening, an emergency, ordinance number O-2011-57, an ordinance by the Council of Amelia Village, Ohio, amending the annual appropriations of village funds for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2011 for Amelia Village and declaring an emergency. This time I would entertain a motion from council to suspend the rules for 3 readings on 3 dates.
So moved.
A second.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Hart?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yeah.
Passes 5-0.
This time I entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number O-2011-57.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Hart?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yeah.
Passes.
Ordinance number O-2011-57 passes. Next piece of legislation this evening is ordinance number O-2011-58, also being considered as an emergency. Ordinance number O-2011-58, an ordinance by the Council of Amelia Village, Ohio, amending the annual appropriations of the village funds for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2011, for Amelia Village to make an advance payment of the 2012 unemployment tax and reduce the assessment rate and declaring an emergency. At this time, I entertain a motion from council to suspend the rules for 3 readings on 3 dates.
So moved.
I second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Hart.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 5-0.
This time, I'm going to entertain a motion from council to adopt ordinance number O-2011-58.
Make that motion.
Second.
Discussion or questions? Ordinance number O-2011, I'm sorry, let's move to a roll call.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Hart.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Ordinance number O-2011-58 is adopted. Final legislation this evening. Is drafted as an emergency.
Are we going to do this as a first reading?
We're just going to do, my intent was to do a first 3 readings, pass it with an emergency clause on the 3rd reading so that it became effective so that we could enter into the contract before our current contract expires.
So we're just going as a first reading.
Correct.
Okay.
But when I read the header, am I reading declaring an emergency?
Not at this time.
This will serve as the first reading on ordinance number O-2011-59, an ordinance retaining CDS Associates Incorporated as village engineer for engineering services, providing for payment of fees. Once again, that will serve as the first reading. Any questions? Is that appropriate, Julia?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is council input.
You want to bring this up? You want me to do that?
Oh, I can bring it up. I like to place a ad on the website as well as advertise on the sign out front for the vacancy on the council that will be created by Todd Hart's election to council, or election as mayor. Probably at the next meeting, or you can do it tonight, ask the committee to form a committee. I'd ask council to form a committee to conduct interviews of those who put in a letter of interest. See, existing members of council, you want me to appoint the committee tonight, or you want to do it at a later date? We have a full council.
It doesn't matter to me.
Council.
To me, I would to do the ad. I'm happy to do the ad now, but I think we should wait till after January to do the committee.
It needs to be done.
Oh, yeah.
It needs to be done before the first of the year.
You need to have somebody in the shoot.
You need the committee?
The committee, and we need to know, yeah. both.
You won't be picking anybody till after the first.
Well, I know, but if we do that, then we'll be into February.
You got someone into the shoot.
Yeah.
But first back out of the line.
No.
Well, if we get the applications up now, I mean, how long will we get people to apply? I mean, we don't even have 30 days before the first of the year.
We don't need 30 days. What do we need 30 days for?
How long do they typically advertise that stuff? All the ones in the past have been 30
Couple of
days.
weeks.
Whatever procedure you guys want to set up
Yes.
is fine.
You can say you want letters of interest by whatever target date council selects. You can say you want letters of interest in hand by the next council meeting or a few days prior or a week, whatever you guys want.
I think that's good. Put a time
I'd say
on it.
by the first of the year.
Yeah,
Letters sent in by.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion from council at any time.
And if we don't have all the letters in before the first of the year, there's no reason to appoint a committee until after
Well, you don't
we
know
get
you
the
have all
letters
the
in.
letters in or not.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
only need one letter. I mean, how many letters do you want to get? We only need one letter. It's
We're
only
gonna have-
one seat.
Depends on how many people put in.
I understand.
But I mean, you don't know.
He said if
Well, let me rephrase. I would hope we would get more than one letter And I would hope we'd like to have more than one letter.
I understand, but we're not gonna just keep extending it till we get more.
No, that's what I'm saying. The first year sounds good to me.
But I'll bet you we don't get more than one. Not being pessimistic or anything.
We need a motion on that or anything?
Yeah.
Make a motion to go ahead and put out an advertisement for letters of entrance for council vacancy in 2012.
Second.
Discussion or questions?
And have them in by January 1st.
Sounds great. Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Pollock.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
No.
Mr. Hart.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
4-1 passes.
Any other council input this evening?
I did get a question real quick. Are we gonna be a donation spot for Toys or for Tots this year?
I didn't have any,
Matt Braden usually does it.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's gone. Then on that note, just for the people in the village on, is it Grouse Drive Road? That we have the spectacular, and the whole circle has done it this year.
Yeah.
And they are a collection point for Toys or Tots, and they also take donations.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yes. So I wanted to.
Email that to me.
Yes,
I'll
I
put it
will.
on the website.
I spoke to the residents, and so I thought, since I didn't see anything up here, that's something maybe we could put out on the website, that's a collection point. I know we got a lot of stuff up here, and and it, like I said, it's a wonderful display. I mean, and I think that's great for the village too.
We have already received calls asking if we're doing Toys for Tots.
Okay, so then
There is
I'll.
interest.
We may be able to, if we can check with them, maybe this could be a drop point and we can just get it to
Okay.
them.
Yeah.
It may be easier for
I
them.
can do that. I can, yeah, because they were out the other night, and I drove back, and
Get us a box.
very nice people, and so I had told them that I would put that out. So, I mean, I didn't know about it till I think last year, maybe 2 years ago. I saw this. I was like, "Where is that house?" I don't, but you can see it when you go down near where you are, and it is. It's very nice.
Can you
They
give us
come
a
out
box?
and they greet people and everything. So.
Can you talk to somebody back
Yeah,
there for a box?
yeah,
On the Toys for
yeah.
Tots box?
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Notice we had Mr. Bob Grove walk in the door. How are you, Mr. Grove?
More in a minute.
Mr. Grove, since you just arrived late at the meeting, we've already done public input. I'd be happy to open the floor to you if you have anything you'd like to address council regarding this evening.
No, I guess just one thing I was going to communicate with Rick with regard to a cemetery plot.
Okay.
My wife's after me to get that resolved.
Okay.
Not that I'm going anywhere. Well, we've given ours away. We've given our present one away, so we need to replace it.
Thank you, Mr. Grove.
Okay.
Any other council input before I ask to adjourn? Next council meeting, Monday, December 19th, 2011, at 7 p.m. At this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:15 p.m.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.